Good evening, everybody. Like our game today, Chris is a little bit delayed, but he will be here shortly. We'll be back in a moment. And just like magic, here he is. Christopher, you're a little bit late game today. You're a bit delayed.
Yeah, it's a multitude of different things. I am going to completely admit to you that my cat was being a pain in the arse, and then my laptop was being a pain in the arse. I've got an old work laptop which has been with me since pre-COVID, and it decided, no, I've had enough of this positivity because of all of the football. I've had enough of you enjoying yourself. I'm going to have an absolute meltdown and decide to do a million updates. And I've got a company, yes. I've got one of those company things that pops up to say, you need to restart your computer right now. And I've been postponing it for about 2 weeks. So it suddenly decided, nope, that's it. You've had your chance. You're doing all of it. But hey, I'm here.
Yes. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to say good evening to everybody in the chat. So hi, Carl. Welcome to the show. Hi, Robert. Welcome to the show. And who else have we got here? Nigel. Hello. Good evening. Is everyone's blood pressure calmed down? Mine has definitely. Stefano's back. Good to see you. Adam's back. Adam, only one guest. You should get more people on. Everyone would love to be part of your podcast. Yeah. You see, the thing is, this is becoming a little bit like the Amanda, Chris, and sometimes Albert show with James as well. So it's who's available, really. But what I'm going to do during the World Cup, I'm going to have a series called What Arsenal Means to Me, and we're going to get lots of different people on. But let's just, we've got so much to talk about. So I'd like to welcome you all to the show. And Christopher. Okay, let's just have a little go back a bit to our last show last week.
Yep.
I think we all predicted a win this week, although I changed my mind this morning and said to all, we all thought we'd be okay in Bodo, Glimt, whatever you call it. What did you think about that?
The Bodo game?
The performance.
I called it, I put a blog out and it was functional Arsenal, functional Arsenal, because that's what it felt like. It felt like an Arsenal team that just needed to go through the motions, get the result, do the job, don't have anyone injured. Let's just crack on and move ourselves, let's move through the gears of the Europa League. And we did exactly that. We did exactly what was needed of the team. We put out a team that was a rotated team, although not fully rotated team. As probably people on this channel have heard multiple times, I'm a child of the Championship Manager generation. And so I love it when I can rest my entire team in preparation for a weekend game. But modern day football, we're recognizing that it's not as simple as that. You need to balance it. You need to keep people with the cadence of playing football. And I think Arteta, in hindsight, got the balance right. And ultimately, we got the win. We didn't play great. And we went in today's game. I wonder if today's game, part of it, particularly the second half, played a part. The Bodo result played a part in how we performed, but we'll probably get onto that.
We'll get to that. So, as most people know, it was very hard to watch the game if you were based in the UK, but some of us got to see it. I got to see the whole game. I'm assuming you did too, Chris. But it was really strange because I just had a feeling this morning that it was going to be a little bit like the old Arsenal. We might be a bit frustrated. That's why I went for 2-2. People kept telling me that Leeds weren't very good, etc. But I just had this little feeling because I think as Arsenal fans, we're just waiting for the draw, the loss, the bad game. I think that's what we're just used to. So I managed to watch it. We'll start at the beginning. We get a minute into it, and all of a sudden the ref goes over to the sidelines. For people who haven't seen it yet, the ref goes over to the sidelines and just sort of points to his mic, and we just think they're going to swap over something. And then all of a sudden, they announced that VAR wasn't working. Now, I have to hold my hands up here. I was like, yeah, let's play on without it. Thank God no one listened to me. That's all I can say. Let's play on. This is ridiculous. There's no power cut there because all the advertising balls are working. The scoreboard was working. Didn't really understand what was going on. So what were your first thoughts for the first, I think it was 37 minutes of delay?
So it was a really interesting one because my first thoughts initially was 5 or 6 years ago, we didn't worry about this sort of stuff. If there was like if there was a communication breakdown on the mics between the two officials or three officials, they'd probably just be like, well, that's a bit annoying, but we'll just crack on and go as we are. But I think such is the reliance on ticking the boxes of the rules, and probably the fear that the PGMOL have of, imagine if we just said, right, we're going to carry on, we're going to do this game with no VAR, and there was a controversial decision on VAR, which then could be the difference between 3 points, 1 point, or 0 points. I suspect that that's why they almost err on the side of caution these days, don't they? And I think that's probably what was reflected in the fact that they said, nope, we're just not going to do it. We're just going to take everybody off the pitch. And, because we have enough, we take enough of a hit from the fans, from the Premier League, from the media on all of the decisions that we make, which a lot of the time, as we all know, I have my views on the PGMOL, and they're not wholly positive, but I think they probably just err on the side of caution, and they're a bit like, do you know what? Let's just not leave ourselves open to scrutiny by just bringing everyone off and then just restarting. So that's where I think the mindset was at.
It was really strange because being a woman of a certain age, I'm a little bit of an overthinker, Chris. So all of a sudden I'm going, the game's going to be cancelled. When are we going to fit this in? It's going to be a nightmare. I was in my head going, well, we can't fit it in this month. I'm already there. It's already cancelled in my head. And it was really awkward trying to watch how we were watching it because then it just cut out and we didn't know what was going on. And the good thing is, obviously, people that were at the game that I knew were tweeting about it and on Facebook. So when they said, the players have come back out, I was like, yes, thank God for that. Then it went straight back to the football on the stream. So it was really interesting that you didn't know what was going to happen. Was this going to be beneficial to us? Was it not?
Yeah.
Was it going to raise Leeds and, raise how they were? But so the game starts and I'm quite okay with the start, Chris. I think some of our football is absolutely stunning. It felt that it flowed very well. Your take on the first, say, I can't remember when Saka scored, what minute it was. Do you remember what minute? Anybody know?
It was in the 30s. I can call it up in a matter of seconds. 35 minutes.
35 minutes after we kicked off. So, so it was like an hour and so later.
On official time, 35 minutes.
It was really interesting. I felt we played quite well. It wasn't brilliant, but we played quite well. 35 minutes. Thanks, Lynn, and hello, Lynn. What I can remember, because so much happened in the second half, it's become a little bit of a blur, was it wasn't the free-flowing football we used to, but we did have some chances, didn't we? Yeah.
Do you know that first half? So going back to the postponement bit. So my wife said to me, well, if you're not going to watch the football for the next half an hour, do you want to make me my lunch? So I ended up making lunch for my wife. So a bit of a shout out to Nicola. She got a nice lunch being made for her. But exactly, a free lunch for her. But that first half to me felt like this season. So this season, I've not really been stressed or worried. I mean, I have, because you go to the games, you get stressed. Tottenham, you get stressed. Liverpool, you get stressed. But the way that we've played has made me feel more comfortable. And the way that the team has played, I feel like there was control. So if you're going to talk about that first half, I would describe it in one word: control. It felt like we were in control there. Leeds had their chances. Leeds were decent. But it felt like we were like in control. It's like, guys, we've got this. We're knocking the ball around at the back. We're creating chances. Martinelli driving down the line. He had the beating of his man. Saka was finding space on that right-hand side, and he was finding a fair bit of space. Ødegaard was really good in that first half. The first half was controlled. So we get to half-time, and I'm thinking, it's controlled. Fine. Crack on. I mean, we'll get to the second half, but if we take it chronologically up to that point of half time, I'm thinking to myself, we're all right. This is what we've seen all season. It's all good. I was worried beforehand that the Bodo Glimt, traveling to Norway is going to cause us an issue. They're going to play us tired, fatigued. When I travel, when I get on a plane and go anywhere, whether it's work or personal, I'm knackered for a day or two afterwards. To be fair, normally that's because I get a bit drunk. But in this instance, the players obviously aren't drunk, but the fatigue and travelling does have an impact. So that was my worry. But then that first half, I thought to myself, doesn't seem to be a problem.
No, so one thing I did notice actually, because I've written a few notes down actually, because during the game.
You're getting good at this, writing down notes.
And you know what's even better is on my phone, I haven't even done paper.
Oh my God, child of the 21st century. Look at you.
Get me, eh? One thing I did write down and I noticed was how hard Martinelli was working from back to front. Absolutely. What he's gained in the experience of playing regularly, where there were times, weren't there, that would go, oh, come on, Martinelli, get back over this time, last season. He's now there. He's now fighting for everything. That is one thing I noticed. But let's just talk about the goal. I could not believe what Rodrigo did. I tell you now, if that was an Arsenal player, I couldn't talk to him for weeks. What he only did to his team. Why would you even do that, Chris? Swing a ball in defence right over to the other side and it hits Saka, who then does a beautiful 1-2 with Ødegaard and scores the most beautiful of goals. And I felt really, really bad because I knew most people weren't watching. And I tried to explain how this has happened and how much they're going to enjoy watching that goal. And Saka, let me just jump back a bit. On Friday evening, I was interviewed by a local paper with a Spurs fan. The journo was Spurs and my Spurs friend who was on here a couple of weeks ago. And we were talking about the World Cup and what it means to us. And I just said, look, I don't want it interrupting their season. And we were just talking and they brought up Saka and they said to me, he's not really done it this season like he did last season. And I went, that's a little bit unfair, if I'm honest. I said,
massively unfair.
Yeah, I don't really. I mean, obviously, I was the only Arsenal person in this conversation. And I was thinking back and I was going, not really. He's scored quite a few goals. And as of today, he's now our joint top scorer with Jesus, 5 each. So I sent a clip of it to them in the group that I'm on with them in WhatsApp now. And I said, yeah, he hasn't really started, has he? I said, I sort of don't get what people think by that. He needs we don't want him to go away with England, but England need him. His performances are getting better every game, Chris.
Yeah, I'm really pleased with this and I think this is symptomatic of our season, actually, because I've seen a lot of different players stepping up at different times. Like we've had games where Gabriel Jesus has stepped up and been the man. Yeah. We've had times where Gabriel Martinelli has stepped up and been the man. And today, in that first half, it was Bukayo Saka stepped up and been the man. And I think that's almost symptomatic of a proper football team. A football team that is going to compete is a team that doesn't rely on one individual. We've had years where we had Robin van Persie that we essentially just were hoping, we hope he turns up today. And there was a season where basically 9 times out of 10, he did turn up and that got us through. This team feels different because this team feels like if somebody has an off day, and I thought Gabriel Jesus had an off day, I thought it was quiet. I thought we didn't see a lot of him, but that's okay.
Yeah.
When you've got other players stepping up, and we've got Bukayo Saka, he's a year older. Martinelli, he's a year older. We've got Ødegaard, he's a year. We've got a young team that are all a year older that have been together a year, and we've augmented that with good players like Jesus, and the result is that when Jesus has a bit of a quiet day like he did today, maybe he was impacted by the injury picked up last weekend, don't know, but Bukayo Saka said, nope, don't worry lads, I'm going to do my bit. I'm going to have end product and I'm going to deliver. And exactly. So we're talking about, I saw a headline yesterday. I don't want to make it about them, those lot that small team around the corner. But I saw a headline today. I think it's from Daily Mail saying, God help us if they hit first gear. Well, God help us if all of our players at once hit top gear, because you ain't stopping. You're not stopping Bukayo Saka. You're not stopping Gabriel Jesus. You're not stopping Martinelli. You're not stopping Odegaard if they're all on top form. We have got a fantastic team. Like, I can look at today and we'll pick apart over the next sort of half an hour or so. We'll pick apart some of the stuff that didn't work. But I'm sat here today having seen us go through the toil of not playing well against Leeds, away from home, having played on Thursday night and having done all the travelling, and still picked up 3 points. This team are just getting it done, and that is amazing.
And what's great is every week there is one player that's not in the game.
Exactly.
And it's not mattering. So if Saka's not in the game, Odegaard had a good one, and Jesus. Martinelli has a bit of an off day, Saka's there, or Jesus. And what I'm loving is Jesus wasn't in the game today. Didn't really see him. Agreed with the substitution. Might actually thought it could have been a bit earlier. It don't matter. And this is what's changed. And you're right about the experience. Very interesting. I was tweeting with Walid on Twitter, and we were just discussing. Someone said, we're not going to win the league. And he said, talk to me when we're 11 points clear, and then we might have a conversation. And I said, talk to us when we're 20 points clear, and he said, yeah, you're right. You know what it's like. It's massive fine margins to actually be able to win the league. We are mid-October here. I wouldn't even talk about winning the league until March, but that's because I'm a warrior. I've been an Arsenal fan for over 50 years, and we know how hard it is to win the league. And we know that even by today's result at Anfield, City never really do it against Liverpool anyway. Next week Haaland's probably going to get about 7. So what I said to him and what I'll say to everybody is enjoy every moment now, every win, every goal, every great every player that has a great game. Everything. Sing your hearts out. Enjoy it now, because we don't know how long it's going to last. If you're not enjoying it now, I don't really understand. And he got it. He was saying, I get that. He said, and I said, the fine margin was last year. And I had this conversation with both the Spurs fans. And they actually said to me, you're one of the most honest Arsenal fans I've ever met. And I said, well, I'm very honest. I've always been like that. We weren't ready for the Champions League last year. We are ready for the Europa League this year. Next year, we will be ready for the Champions League. But we're not ready as such, and we'll have that confidence, stamina and everything to win the league. In March, if we're 20 points clear or whatever we are, and everyone wants to come back at me, I'd be the happiest person that you all do. But I think it's all stages like life, yeah? We weren't ready last year. Tottenham were better than us. The table doesn't lie. We capitulated at Newcastle. Today would have been that Newcastle game where, let me tell you, so let's go into the second half, Chris. The second half, we come out. They are all over us. We can't get the ball. We can't keep, and even when we get the ball, we can't keep the ball. It is like the Alamo. They have very loud fans. And they're only 1-0 down. They've got to go for it. So I felt that the Thursday night game, which is going to have an effect, they always do, whether we rotated or not, a lot of those players did play, and their legs got tired.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the impact of the midweek activity has played a part, but the mark of a good team, a quality team, is to be able to dig it out. And let's be honest, as I said, this season so far has been a lot of fun. because
Yeah.
Arsenal have basically been in control of football matches the entire time. You cannot go through an entire season being in control of football matches. Look at the Man City or Liverpool versus Man City game today. Man City had large patches being controlled and they lost that football match because there were points in which they weren't in control. There are just times where that happens. It is basically impossible. Like, as much as Man City have a cheat code in Erling Haaland, 0 goals today. So, all of these Sky Sports features talking about how he's going to get 100 goals, 600 goals and score a hat-trick each week. Turns out, the man is human, which we all know and we all expected.
Yeah.
Ultimately, these are human beings and they are fallible and they are going to make mistakes and they are going to have off days. The mark of a good team and the mark of character. And this is what Arteta talked about afterwards. Character is about being able to dig in. And yes, we rode our luck. Let's be honest. Second half, Leeds get a penalty. It's a penalty. We can't really complain about that.
No.
Comes off Saliba's hand. Didn't think Saliba had the best of games.
No,
There were a few instances
I
where it didn't really go for him. And I can wax lyrical about Saliba and how he makes me feel so comfortable, but there were times where it just didn't work for him. But penalty, Bamford just drills that straight down the middle and it's 1-1. And we're probably having a conversation right now saying, oh, it's a draw, it's unfortunate, but probably the fair result. So, we've been on the right side of it today, I will admit, and I'm very happy about that. But there will be days coming up when we're not on the right side of it. But for me, do you know what? Amass as many points as quickly as we can, as early as we can right now, and this is where in my head, I think, let's recalibrate our expectations. I'm not thinking about a league title tilt. I'm just thinking about get as many points as you can so that we can get that Champions League spot, because that's our evolution. Our evolution is getting to the Champions League. It's not let's finish second to City on 95 points and they get 96. I want to do that, but my expectations are still at that level. Like you just talked about, Amanda, expectations are a certain level.
And it's true. And this Lynn, who often makes some really good points. This is the worst game we've played this season. However, we still got the 3 points, and maybe last season we would not have got over the line. Not maybe, Lynn. We wouldn't have won it. We wouldn't have. There's no way. It's just all falling together at the right time. We are mid-October. We're 4 points clear because Liverpool decided.
It's mental. This is actually mental.
It is mental, but we have to enjoy it. The big smile, shouldn't be worrying about PSV Thursday night and Southampton next Sunday. We're 4 points clear. It's actually funny after everything we've been through and all the hysteria over whether Arteta's any good and everything he does. And I wonder where all the Arteta outs are at the moment. Probably just pretending they never said Arteta should be out or waiting for us to lose, which is pretty sad. At the end of the day, it's really, really interesting that I'm just loving it, Chris. Do you know, I go into work every week. I'm surrounded by West Ham and Tottenham and Liverpool and all colleagues of It's brilliant. I've only started my job about 5 months ago. They must hate the fact that they've got an Arsenal fan working there, because I literally walk in with a different mug every day as well. And, the Tottenham fan wouldn't talk to me literally for about 5 hours on the Monday. And I'm not joking either. I actually had a hissy fit and I love him to pieces. And blaming VAR against Liverpool. And I just went, don't even start me. Let's not even discuss Harry Kane, because as far as I'm concerned, I think everyone knows my views on what happened yesterday. But at the end of the day, we are top. It is there to be enjoyed. And I think most Arsenal fans are on my train of thought, Chris. Just enjoy it now, because we don't know what's going to happen. So just a couple of things that we need to talk about, the actual situations. Yep. So, interestingly, I just kept sitting there thinking I was waiting for Leeds to score. I had many chances. Aaron Ramsdale was my man of the match. I think that says it all to people that have not seen the game. Gabriel comes a close second, and Gabriel was actually better than Saliba today, which I know is hard to believe, but he was. And that stats prove it. the rest of them, I couldn't pick a man of the match. It had to be Ramsdale for me.
Yeah.
He saved us so many times. So then we get to the fact that Saliba puts his arm out, penalty. Don't really need a debate on it. I'm sure any normal, decent football fan, whether you're Arsenal or not, can see that's a penalty. There's no disputing it. And he puts the ball down, and there's loads of shithousery going on, and there's, and I'm sitting there thinking, well, it's 1-1. There is no way on my mind, because Leeds 100% deserved a draw today, if not to even win it. And I actually didn't realise he'd missed Chris. I thought it'd gone past, because sometimes, the stream's a little bit crackly and whatever. And I couldn't believe it. It was amazing. And at that moment, I did joke with my dad was over, and I did joke with my dad and Carl, went, we're going to win the league. That's it. We're going to win the league, like joking. But those are the things that you need to go for you, because Man United have it, Liverpool have it, City have it, Tottenham have it. We don't get that. Everyone scores against us, don't they?
Well, yeah, that's what it feels like sometimes. But do you know, confession time, my stream went down as I was watching that as well. So I had this horrible thing where I had the black screen of death. And then suddenly I'm having to go through my Twitter. I switched my phone off of the Wi-Fi in the house onto 4G so I can get access. And the first time I found about it was through Arsenal's Twitter feed saying Bamford puts it wide. Honestly, I dropped my phone. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. It's like when you turn around away from a penalty and close your eyes and then suddenly find out it's been missed. It was amazing. And
it is. Sorry, let me just interrupt, because I'm going to just say what Rancid Pumpkin said. Yeah, there was offside in the build-up, massive offside. It wasn't even like a little bit. It was offside, so it was justice in a way. Which again, Arsenal don't get that much justice, So you've dropped your phone. We're 1-0. They haven't scored, and you're like, Jesus Christ, what, is this real? They've been on top of us the whole time. It's just incredible that he's actually missed it.
Yeah. And in that second half, so at work, believe it or not, I work for a London-based HR consultancy. So everyone's, broadly speaking, based in London. There's a lad who lives in Brighton. He's a Leeds fan. He's from Leeds originally. And I messaged him tonight to say, we probably didn't deserve that. We probably actually should have. A draw probably would have been a fair result. But these are the sort of breaks that are going to be difference makers. We missed out on top 4 last season by a point or two. And as you said earlier, Amanda, this is the sort of game that last season we probably draw, or maybe we lose. But let's just say this is the game last season we draw. That's 2 extra points. If we finish in the top 4 or even third or whatever it is, if we finish in the top 4 this season by 2 points, you can look back at a game like this to say, didn't play well, got a bit lucky, got the result, and that's all that matters. And that can be huge for a team season. This could, believe it or not, be a pivotal point in our season. Right now, we're all thinking a bit like, cool, got away with one there, lads and ladies. We got away with one. But we could be looking at this when everyone disappears after the World Cup, we could be looking at this and going, wow, that was a proper result. And we could be looking at this in May and going, wow, look at that. Now that was a proper result.
Absolutely. And AFC Max, thank you for your donation. Hey, what a game. Jesus Christ, I thought I died and got revived 8 times during the game from stress and different vital organs. Do you know what, Max? I'm 53. I don't know how much more I can take. My heart rate was so fast at times that I don't drink, Chris.
That was full. That was full before the game.
I understand that. I think we all feel like Gooners, especially because I think, I don't speak for everyone, we're just waiting because it's what we're used to of losing games like that. And I think the more we're winning and the more we're looking stronger, then it's getting to be more confident. But thank you for your comment. Okay, so the next bit, God, it's so much. Right. Shall we get to? I've just got my notes. The second half push. The push on Gabriel. So chaos ensues, Christopher. When you watch a stream, it is a little bit different to being able to watch it on Sky or something.
Yeah.
All I've seen is Gabriel on the floor, everyone running to the linesman, the referees at the linesman talking. And I said, I think he's going to get a red card. I think he's going to go. So he said, he picks out a red card. Arsenal go, and he points to the penalty spot. Okay. So what we're thinking is Gabriel's kicked out. You don't get a chance to rewind it or anything. And then I've never seen the Arsenal players go this mental. Every one of them. Absolutely mental. So I said to Carl that he needs to go to the screen. He needs to go. I was like screaming because I don't want an unjust. I don't mind if it's a penalty against us, but I don't want unjust. And then Carl said to me, he can't go to the screen unless VAR call him to. I said, what? I didn't even know that rule. And then he runs over to the screen, Chris. Now, for me, he was at that screen too long. I thought he was going to just give the red card, carry that through, and the penalty was going to happen. And then obviously it didn't. I've not seen that. He's actually rescinded the red card. And I think he gave him a yellow, Gabriel, or Bamford got a yellow. I can't remember which one.
No, Bamford, because if he's giving Gabriel a yellow, then that's a penalty.
Bamford started it. I mean, all right, okay. So Bamford started it all. But what was your thoughts at that moment?
So in real time, I'm watching it and just thinking, well, he looks like he's just shoved into him. So carry on. You look at in the replay, and it almost looks a bit sort of shades of Patrick Vieira with Ruud van Nistelrooy at Old Trafford, whereby, I mean, that was a bit more obvious, to be fair, because Vieira's leg extended and Van Nistelrooy made a lot of a meal of it. But I'm gonna make this, like, I'm gonna put this out there right now, and I appreciate this is an Arsenal fan podcast, and we're gonna have Arsenal fans on here, but I'm sorry if you're Patrick Bamford or if you're a Leeds fans, I really hope you're just embarrassed by that response from Patrick Bamford, because yes, Gabriel goes down and his leg goes outstretched.
Yeah.
But Bamford's response was a disgrace. It was an actual disgrace. His feigning injury or illness, or like he's been attacked. Sorry, mate. You are feigning injury. You are trying to cheat the referee. So when the referee goes to the monitor, it's almost like, again, I'm completely biased, so you're going to get this response from me. But if I'm trying to be neutral and I'm a professional match official here going to the monitor and watching Bamford's response, I'm almost like, do you know what? You're an absolute dick, Bamford, and I'm sorry, but I'm getting the card out for that response, because it was pathetic. Yeah. It was a pathetic response, trying to cheat yourself a point from your team, and your team did deserve. You've said this, Amanda. I've said this. They deserved a draw. They were better than us in the second half. They had lots of chances. Ramsdale's got us out of jail. They have missed a penalty. They deserve a draw. But Bamford's response there, in the dying embers of the game, was an embarrassment, and in a way, total justice to say, I'm sorry, mate, I'm not having that. Rescinded red card, no penalty, 3 points. You guys, you need to look at Patrick Bamford and say, dude, sort yourself out.
I think he did get a yellow. I think he did, because Carl said Gabby got the yellow for the leg, but the penalty was overturned because of the Bamford foul. So I think that did happen. It was so mad that you just felt like we're going to win the league. If this had been March, I'd have been like, we're going to win the league, like joking and stuff. But Stuart said Bamford been watching Kane penalty technique.
Swan died in Kane, yeah.
So, I mean, talk about everything going on. So then we're back to 1-0. No red card. Gabriel stays on the pitch. Sorry, can anyone tell me what time that was? Because I've lost all.
Oh, it was like 93, 95. I mean, there was literally
No,
only a
it
minute to
wasn't.
play. Or
No, I don't think it was because then we had all the subs come on. So then you had Vieira for Odegaard, which I called, funny enough. I said we need Vieira on. Then we had Tierney that came on left back. Tommy went right back. Ben White went off. Eddie came on for Jesus, which definitely agree with. And there was one other as well. Was it 90 plus? What, Stefano? It wasn't in the 90th minute, though,
yeah,
was it?
it
Wasn't
was.
it?
It was in the 90s. Yeah, it was in the 90s. There was only a minute or two left to go. It's just, Amanda, our lives felt that long. That was the longest, Jack Bauer style from the episodes 24. It
Oh
was
my
the
God.
longest 2.5 odd minutes of our lives, and it genuinely felt like that for me.
I just want to say hello to a few people because this is so lovely to have you here, Ainsley. Just joined for the first time and hoping for some upbeat listening and discussion. We are upbeat. Also, AFC Max, again, thank you for your donation. If someone had said we'd be 4 points clear of City right now, I'll be asking what drugs you're smoking and asking if you can have some. Us Gooners are living the dream right now. Enjoy the ride so far. That is my point, AFC Max. That definitely is my point. So, okay, so then he brings the subs on. Then it was the most strangest game. Did you not think that? The second half for me was I felt like I was in an episode of like a soap opera. You've got everything going on. And then Ramsdale, I keep calling him Ramsey. I keep doing it. Ramsdale saves us continuously. And I'm thinking, my heart rate is getting higher and higher. We're only 1-0 up here. I don't remember us having a chance in the second half. Did we? Do you remember? Does anyone remember?
I'm struggling, but I think a lot of that was the ball wasn't sticking because of Leeds' high intensity press. And we need to give some credit to Leeds here because, they've had an entire week to prep for us. They've had an entire week to watch videos of us and the way that we play. They pressed us high. In the second half, they went even more aggressive and they won balls back. They won the ball back off of us very, very high. Gabriel Jesus was essentially non-existent at points. And there was a couple of times where he picked the ball up. There was one time where Leeds created a chance in our half where Gabby Jesus has picked the ball up just inside, where the center circle, the center circle bit, he's about a third of the way into our half and he loses the ball. He tries to twist his man marker is literally a third of the way into our half. So I think what they did was be very, very aggressive. They pushed us more aggressive than any other team has been with us, because what other teams have recognized is that if you are normally that aggressive with Arsenal, when we're on our A game and our passing is as accurate as it's been, then we do what we did in the first half. Like, there were instances where Leeds pressed us in the first half in our own box almost, and we just did little triangles out and then went away. But in the second half, those triangles weren't working. Odegaard just suddenly wasn't finding his range. And I think in the first, Odegaard in the second half, the reason Fabio Vieira came on was because his range was completely off. He wasn't finding. He missed pass after pass after pass. And I love Odegaard, but in the first half, he set up Saka's goal. A fantastic goal from Saka. Brilliant finish. Man's arrived on the scene. He's been brilliant for us, Saka, and Odegaard, big part of that. But in the second half, his range was off. And as a result of that, I think a lot of that was because of Leeds' press. And that was one of our biggest problems. Our biggest problem was Leeds went aggressive. And I just wonder how much of that is, the not physical fatigue, but maybe the mental fatigue of, you've gone to Norway, and I don't want to make excuses, but you've gone to Norway and, you've the flight back, and then you've had like a light training session on Saturday, and then you're all up, you've got to head yourself up to Yorkshire, these sort of things in elite sport. 1 or 2% marginal gains makes a big difference. And I just wonder if some of that played a part in that second half.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more. It's going to be like this, the Thursday, Sunday thing. It definitely is. The travelling. Remember as well, they've psyched themselves up for big games. Liverpool, Tottenham. We've played a lot of football with going to Norway in the Arctic Circle on a plastic wet pitch. So some of their legs are going to be heavy and tired. Leeds did very well. They pressed and pressed and pressed and pressed that second half. We couldn't make it work. We just couldn't. We weren't terrible, but we really needed Jesus to be on his game. Now, I was only told on Thursday that he was rested for Sunday. No injury, nothing like that. And I don't think it is. And thank God he is playing. And, now, again, we've got to play Thursday night, 6:00 at the Emirates. Thankfully, we're not going anywhere. PSV are going to give us a big game, Chris, on Thursday night. What does he do? Because again, then Sunday, 2:00 or 2:30, whatever it is, we're away to Southampton. They're coming thick and fast. And then, which does not benefit us, the World Cup's going to come in a few weeks after, and they'll all be gone. And it's like, we could still be top of the league when we go to the World Cup. Who knows? It's going to stop the momentum. And it was funny, we were talking about this Friday night and in that interview. And I remember saying, this is going to benefit everybody else but not us. It just isn't. I said, all I know is Mikel will be on the blower every day to his boys. And what I loved, I've not really seen much of Mikel's post-match interview. I'd heard a little bit where he says, you have to win these games. This is what we need to win. And I just thought, do you know what? I've always been his supporter since day one. He's just gradually, every minute, becoming the winner. And that's how he's built to be a winner. And when you watch Pep and Klopp, I don't know if anybody watched the Liverpool City game straight after. I did as well, Chris. Mm-hmm. You look at those two brilliant managers, and you can't debate that they're not been in the brilliant managers in the last 5 years. And that's what we need Arteta to aspire to and to get to those sort of levels. Pep's going ballistic at the fourth official. You got the fans going at him. Klopp was sent off, and their teams. I mean, Salah should have scored way before then. And what a goal he did score. And for us, I wanted Liverpool to win. Did you or not?
I saw everything as anything as a bonus, really. If I'm completely honest with you, if Man City had won, I'd have said, you know what, everyone's expecting them to just walk the league, so that's just another 3 points that we're clear of Liverpool. So take that. A draw means, hey, again, Liverpool drop points, and we get a few clear of Man City, and we get a few more, maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks of being, joyously at the top of the league. A City defeat, and hey, we're now 4 points clear. So it means even next weekend, despite whatever happens when we go away to Brighton, which is a ground which we've not had great results
not
on.
Brighton.
Was it Southampton? Sorry.
Yeah.
Away to Southampton. Well, even again, last season, not a great sort of, it's not a ground we've had much luck on. But, from my perspective, it was a win-win situation. But going back to the Arteta, Klopp, Guardiola thing, I think what we are starting to see, and what that evening kickoff that we've just all witnessed, Liverpool versus Man City, after seeing Arsenal versus Leeds, is that football is not just an 11v11 on the pitch. The managers, all right, they set the tactics up, they decide how players should play, but actually a lot of stuff can happen on the pitch, off the pitch as well. And Arteta has his role to play off the pitch during the game as well. There were times where there were water breaks, and Arteta's like, right, everyone in. We're going to have this conversation. We're going to talk. You want to do this? You want to? I'm going to organise you guys. You guys need to do your bit. There are times where you can put, as a manager, you can put pressure on the referee, or you can actually exert more influence on the crowd, like Klopp earlier, like making, big, huge, like raucous, throwing his arms up in the air for the crowd to do more. Arteta's been doing that as well. And going back to right when Arteta joined, and we've seen it through the All or Nothing series, Arteta talking about making that connection. He's recognised this. It's a cliche to talk about the 12th man, but actually the drive from home fans, or in this instance, the pressure that you can put on referees or whatever it is, you got to take advantage of that sort of stuff. Other teams do it. Let's not have all of this. Arteta spends half of his time. Let's not go all full Richard Keys. Arteta spends half his time outside of the technical box. That's not right. That's not right. Well, I'm sorry. You need to look at some of the other teams here, because some of the other teams do exactly the same thing and have been doing it for years. We've just decided that we're not going to be nice Arsenal anymore. We're going to play by the rules of everyone else, and Arteta's doing that, and I effing love it. I was about to
It's
swear.
interesting,
Craig
isn't it?
wouldn't like that, but
no,
I'm going to. I nearly swear. Just effing. That's allowed.
I just wish I had a guest on that I didn't agree with. Every minute I'm going like this because, Christopher, we are the 12th man. Me and you go week in, week out to the Emirates. So we know what it's like. And the atmosphere is incredible, 100 times better than it's ever been. I've said for months and months and months, do not boo your team. Support your manager, support your team, because once you start to support, it starts to build, and it's built so much that I even heard the Arsenal fans singing when Leeds were on top of us to try and get behind the team, to know that they're supported and loved and that they're there. Many a time over the years, we've seen awful support from a lot of our supporters, the toxicity, all of it. And it's true, as Ainsley said, the 12th man has been huge this season. But we were huge halfway through last season. And I think that it's such a massive thing that it doesn't get spoken about enough. And Fiona says it the same thing. We definitely are the 12th man, just love the atmosphere at the Emirates. When have we ever said that, Chris? I mean, I sit in the East Stand upper, not notorious for getting up and singing, for sure. We'll do the odd song, but now it does not stop. We start off songs. I actually started a little song off when I left the ground last week because we're all buzzy. I've always sung anyway, but not many around us do. Now there's loads. They're coming from everywhere. We don't stop singing. Honestly, Carl and I will leave the stadium and every time we're complaining about our throat, saying like it's all hoarse and sore because we don't stop. And that is everywhere around the ground now. And I say it every pod. I love the Clock End Ultras. I love what the Ashburton Army are trying to do. It's fabulous because the Clock Ends have never been as loud as the North Bank. And sometimes now they're louder than you lot, Chris. So it all does make a difference. Before I carry on, it's very remiss of me to miss this off. But come on, happy Invincibles Day to everybody. I mean, not only that, hello, is yours gold? Because ours is. Yes, another year. And everybody in the chat room, it really, really, really means a lot to me that you come back week after week. Please press the like button because that means a lot. And please subscribe. And please tell me as you go through your questions where you're all from. I can see someone's from Texas. Hold on a second. Let's have a look. Patrick Pornan. Hello from Texas. We've got Super Mick Arteta. One thing I do love, and I've gone on record, as I say, I love the international fans. I love the Americans, the Africans, the Australians, the Malaysians, the Portuguese, the Italians. I love the fact that Arsenal are supported everywhere. And just because you can't get there every week doesn't make you any less of a fan. Absolutely.
Can I jump in on that? Can I just jump on that to be a bit of a shout out? So a few years ago, I did a bit of a road trip and I went to Nashville, Memphis, New Orleans, did a bit of a session, and I met up with the guys who are from the Memphis Gooners collective. I think it's called the Brass Door Pub. I met a few guys. Lovely. I spent the entire morning with them. Wife messaged me saying, "We are on holiday. What are you doing?" And I said, "Come and meet us in the pub." And we end up spending in the morning just singing songs and doing stuff like that. So it's lovely. And actually, in about 2 weeks' time, I can't go to the Nottingham Forest game, the first game that's at home, because I'm actually going to be in San Francisco. And I've already messaged a couple of people, seeing if I can get there. And it genuinely astounds me. I've been to New York. I've been to New York and seen an Arsenal home game where I couldn't get to it. And I turn up in a pub surrounded by American Gooners, and it's like, wow, this is my family. This is amazing. Like, they're all as mental as I am.
Well, I went to New York and I watched. Do you remember the Arsenal Crystal Palace game at Palace where Bellerin went to the crowd and went ballistic? We lost 3-0 and it was a nightmare. There wasn't that many Gooners there because it was their Monday afternoon. So a lot were working. They'd swapped it from the Sunday, and I was in O'Hanlon's. The place is covered in Arsenal memorabilia.
Yeah.
I was in awe of everything. It was an Arsenal pub. If you're ever in New York, go
Yeah.
and watch it there. But I'm just going to give a few shouts. So
Go
I
on,
live in
do it.
Harlow, Lynn. Lynn, for some reason, I thought you were abroad, but you're not actually far from me. Carl Stark, I'm from downstairs in the lounge. He is correct. He is. John McDermott's North London, forever. Royal Leamington, Reading, Uxbridge, now Devon, Switzerland. Hello.
I'm in Uxbridge right now.
You're in Uxbridge. Wave to Stuart. Stefano's in Norwich. How funny, Stefano. For some reason, I thought you was in Italy. Adam, Northern Ireland. Hello to you. Oh, it's so lovely. That's very true. So there are so many fans in Oz. There is an Arsenal pub in Perth, Oz. Now, my cousin, who was over for the Tottenham game, lives in Oz, comes over for all the for work reasons, but tries to fit all the games in, all the cup finals with me over the years and everything. And he said it's mad out there for football, for Arsenal especially. So it's just fantastic. I love it. Oh, we've got Kent, Nigel, Robert. Oh, you're in the Mile End. So it's fantastic. Oh, AFC Max, Sydney. See what I mean? Just so global. It's fantastic. Thank you so much for everyone. Right. So I still can't. So there's so much that's going around in my head about the game. There's so much to even think about. Saka came off for holding. That was the other one at the beginning. That was the first sub. Then the minute he brings on holding, we've got a problem. Not a problem, but he wants to
Back to the wall, guys.
Yeah.
Back to the wall.
Let's try and park a little bus there. But why not use our substitutes? Why not? That's what it's for. And that's what we've waited for so long, Chris, to have strength in depth, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And we haven't actually done that a lot this season, which maybe is a mark of the game and game state. And maybe that's something that we need to recognize. And again, we were talking about this earlier. So we're not going to have things our own way the whole season. We have had, before today, 9 games in which we've been in control. We've won 8 of them. And even with the Man United game, they basically scored against the run of play. So we had the Man United game in our sights and we should have won that match. Like, I'm not having any Man United fan talk about, no, we just played you well and that's what we do. No, nonsense. You guys were not in control of the match. You got fortunate with the Ericsson foul. For those people listening on podcast, I'm using my fingers to do the old quote marks because it wasn't a foul. We go 1-0 up. I think that game changes. Maybe we're talking about we've won 10 games in a row and holy moly, we might be 7 points clear of Man City on 30 points right now. But moving that to one side, we have seen Arsenal on top. That will not happen for 38 games. No team, even the Invincibles. And happy, as we talked about earlier, happy Invincibles Day, everybody. Even the Invincibles had games where we were not on top. There were times where we had men sent off. There were times when we were just backs to the wall and we scraped a draw. There were times where we battered teams and we scraped and we got a draw. I remember there was a game against, I think it was Fulham, where Edwin van der Sar, I think this was at home, we drew 0-0. I'm sure it was that season. And we smashed them and he had just the game of his life. Things don't always go your way. Sometimes you don't play amazing. Factors influence that. That is exactly what happened today. But the difference, as opposed to this morning when I was writing my blog thinking, do you know what? I've got a weird feeling that this feels like a 1-1 or a 2-2 or something like that. Yeah. In my mind, like I didn't say it, but in my mind, I was like, I've just got a weird feeling this is going to be one of those classic 1-1s. We might batter them and draw 1-1. We might get battered and draw 1-1. I just feel like that. And so when it went 1-0 and in the second half, when they were battering us in terms of, batten down the hatches and defensive solidarity and solidity, I worried that this is only going to end one way. I'm sitting here at 9:30, seeing my team winning their 9th game out of 10. I could not ask for more. I'm utterly delighted. Play badly and win. Keep doing this, lads. I'm over the moon.
Exactly what I was just about to say, and Ainsley said it. Winning teams also win ugly. And that's really interesting. Gets to my next point about social media. I was really interested to see people, not many, but a few people said they wouldn't celebrate because it wasn't great and this wasn't a good performance and stuff like that. I don't really understand why you'd not celebrate, even if you won 1-0 in the 91st minute and you'd played rubbish the whole game. Isn't that to celebrate? I mean, I just think I'm a little bit old school, and I think social media isn't great for certain things and great for other things. But don't know, listen, each to their own, but winning teams, we didn't in the Invincibles win every game beautifully, that's for sure. Right, I'm going to take some of your questions before me and Chris go off and calm down and relax. Let's have a look what we got here. Peter Colson, are we doing the thing that champions do, like playing poorly but winning, or have we lost our mojo after Leeds and Bodo game, Chris?
I don't want to say we are doing what champions do, because that makes me fall into the false sense of security that, oh my God, this could be that amazing. Little anecdote. I met my wife at university. The year that I met my wife was 2003. Now, to Arsenal fans, interesting. January 2003, I met my wife, and it was pretty good being an Arsenal fan back then. And then 1 year into my relationship with my wife, she literally remembers the times when I was angry. We lost in the Champions League, I think, to Ozier, and I threw a plastic cup against a wall because we'd lost, I think it was 3-0, 3-1, something like that. But she says, most of the time, you were pretty happy. And I said to her, that's because we were flipping awesome. We were a flipping awesome team back then. And this evening, after we won that game, she came downstairs because I was watching it in the lounge. She came downstairs because she was doing other bits. And she just said, they won again then. And I said, I don't want to jinx it, but it sort of feels like when we were back at uni and we were that good that every week we were winning, and my expectation were winning. I had, like I said to you, I thought, oh, this might be difficult. We might draw this game. The fact that we've won this today, again, I don't want to speak too soon, but I feel like we're going into games and I'm like, we should win this. So next weekend against Southampton, I'm going to go into it not being like, oh, well, it's away from home. We might end up, if we play well, we'll get a result, but it'll probably end up a draw, and, we could easily get done. I'm going into next weekend's game going, no, we can do Southampton. Let's do it. Let's make it. Let's make it 10 wins. Do it. Screw it. Do it. Let's have 30 points by the time we get to Monday.
The belief from that to that is
massive.
I feel like that now, and I always err on the side of caution. Okay, so Carl Stark said, can we win the league? And then I'm going to bring Adams in as well. We may not be confident winning the league, but are we confident now that top four is in the bag? Now we're over 10 points clear of fifth. So do you think we're going to win the league? Or do you think...
You answer that, because you've been asking me. You answer that.
No, I don't. I really don't. But again, you've got to talk to me in March. It's October the 16th. So many things could happen from now till then during the World Cup. Injuries. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't think we can. It doesn't say we won't. It doesn't mean we won't.
Do you think we're top four, though?
Yes. Oh, I'd be absolutely distraught if we don't hit top four. Absolutely. I think we deserve it just on 9 games. No, it's silly to say that because it's a 38-game season. What do you think? Do you think we can win the league?
No. And I think most Arsenal fans you talk to are realistic on that, because we don't have the... People talk about squad depth, but Man City's squad depth is not that much massive, not that much bigger than ours. And I think it's just... Liverpool will be a factor. Like, people are talking about Liverpool are done, but
no,
they will be a factor. They absolutely. You just watch the game today. They're very difficult to beat away from home. Man City have looked like perfect so far. They've gone to Liverpool today, and all right, Liverpool have had moments where Man City looked like they might have been on top, but broadly speaking, Liverpool have done the business. So I think Liverpool will end up being either second or at least third, even in the position they're in at the moment. So I don't think we'll win the league, but I think Arsenal fans need to calibrate our expectations, because we go up and down. At the beginning of the season, if somebody had said top 4, you guaranteed. Shake my hand, you take it. All of us would have been like, yep, take 4th right now, take 4th. Even if we were at this point where we're top of the league by X number of points, if we'd have said you can cash out at 4th, I'd probably still take it, because we need to see just the evolution of this team.
Yeah, of course.
We've already seen the benefits of the way we're playing. We need that validation by 4th. And then, next season, maybe my views are, I want to go for the league.
Yeah.
Because we've finished in the Champions League. Let's go for it. This team are another year experience. We've got plenty of miles in the tanks. This is a young team. So that's kind of where my mind's at. It's get top 4. That's where I'm at. If we can beat Southampton next weekend, we got 30 points. I think we need 78, 80 points, and I'll be happy with that. And if we're 30 points after 11 games, that's a massive way. We're very close. It feels like we're very close to getting to that. We're coming close to the halfway point. For every win, as I said, I'm going to stop this monologue in a second. For every win we make, we are one step closer. Sounds stupid, boring, obvious, but it's true. It's one more buffer that we've got. So if we have a shocking game like we did last season against Everton away, each of these wins that we get means that if we have a shocker, we can go, chill, guys. We've had a shocker. Stick it to the back of your minds, because we've got enough points in the bank that we can go again, and our objectives are still very achievable.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think we will win the league. But funnier things have happened. Look at Leicester. Carl Stark wants to ask you, Chris and me, Southampton, Forest, Chelsea, Brighton, Wolves, how many points do you think we'll get?
10. And that's
really?
Conservative.
I've got 13.
Conservative. Southampton, I feel like we owe them something. Forest at home. No, we want to do that. Chelsea, let's just say Chelsea are going to do us because, we'll have all the ball and they'll get a skanky one. Fine. Brighton, so 3. So, Wolves, I think that's a draw. Brighton, I think that's a win. 3, 6, 9, and one more, 10. But if we do that, that's getting towards the point in which the World Cup starts. That's 10 points added to the existing 27 that we've got. That means we're 37 points. That's a pretty good haul.
Okay, so I've gone Southampton, Forest, Brighton, Wolves win, Chelsea draw. Okay. That's how confident I am. And each game, I'm getting more and more confident. Obviously, today I did go for a draw. Although last week I did think we'd win. I just thought, you got to think realistically. I didn't realise we were going to be playing on an AstroTurf pitch full of rain and heavy on Thursday. And obviously, Bodo, whatever you call them, they're used to it. We're not. Right. Okay. Couple of other things before we go. So, yeah, exactly, Carl. 28 cup finals left. That's all we've got.
If only we were to go to Wembley for each of those cup finals, because for those of you who haven't been, Wembley Cup finals are flipping amazing. I've been to a few FA Cup finals, and they are amazing. And even those just going there, the whole experience, being with your mates, like spending the day there, having a few drinks, it's just awesome. Some teams, Tottenham, don't get to experience that, but we've had that.
Do you think we'll be top when we leave this Premier League, when the break happens and we go to the World Cup? Just do it.
No.
What's your cat called?
Iago. Iago. Iago.
Not Gunner or anything like that.
No. He's named after the he's named after the parrot in Disney's Aladdin.
Oh, okay. He likes to make a little appearance. Yes, I agree, John. Are we a better side than Leicester, remembering they won the league? Yeah, but I don't remember any team having Haaland in it, even today. I mean, and it's interesting, their goal that got wiped off because of the foul halfway up reminded me of our goal with Ødegaard at United. It was the same sort of thing. And if they're going to give it against United, they've got to give it against City, because it's got to be consistency somewhere.
Yep.
Anyone else got any other questions before we go? Is everybody happy? Does anyone think we're going to win the league? Anyone in the chat room? Does anyone think we're going to win the league? Because I've not really met anyone yet that has said it. Again, I think everyone's sort of waiting, but please, everyone, just enjoy it. Right, Chris, give me your prediction for PSV at home on Thursday.
We'll win. That's what we do.
I like that. That's what we do. That's going to be the title for this. We win. That's what we do. Okay, so Carl says, well, not. Fiona says too early. Rob says, I think we can. It's lovely to have positivity, that's for sure. Right, we'll win on Thursday night. And I think we'll beat Southampton. We're going to be back probably next Sunday night doing the same sort of thing again. Hopefully our blood pressure is not through the roof like it was. That's interesting. Rancy pumping on with you. I said that as soon as we got knocked out, as soon as Spurs beat us that night, I said we're going to win the Europa League because I knew we wouldn't hit the Champions League. So Rancy pumping on with you. Oh, go on. This last one from OO Slice. If they are still top before the World Cup break, big decisions need to happen in the January transfer window. Can't let this opportunity pass. Might not win it, but I say go for it. I don't know. We do transfer chat, but maybe we'll see nearer the time. Christopher, top of the league. Best start ever for Arsenal. 9 out of 10 games won. It's all looking very good, isn't it?
It is looking rather splendid, I must say. And let's just doff our caps to the British English media, who are going to obviously find ways in which they can describe how the caveat of, well, you know, Arsenal haven't played anyone decent yet. I wonder how many games we have to get through. Maybe we have to get through 19 games before they say, well, they've actually played quite a lot of decent teams.
Doesn't matter what they say. I don't care about them. They're all being like very coy about us. It's all City or Liverpool still, isn't it? Let them talk. We're good. Right. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. It's been an absolute pleasure, especially when we win. And this makes it all worthwhile. Thanks, Patrick. First time tuning in, and I really enjoyed it. Thanks, guys. I'll be back next Sunday. That is lovely. Thank you so much. And thanks, Rob, for your continued support. Christopher, thank you for joining me. Off you and Ergo, or whatever you call your...
Iago.
Sorry, Iago, go. I'm going to sit down and try and have a bit of a relax and just enjoy match of the day. Can actually enjoy match of the day tonight. I'll see you all next week. Please press like. Please press subscribe. Remember, it is always Arsenal. Always.